What do you rank? What's the motherfucking deal? Welcome to Saw Sports. If you're not familiar with Saw Sports, well, shame on you. If you ain't familiar, I can't blame you. We been a little off and on the last couple of weeks getting things back in order. But this is the freshest flavor in H-Town sports. You know what I'm saying? All sports, only Houston, and y'all gonna notice some things have changed a little bit. We're gonna get into that, but man, we got a gentleman from the round getting down. Y'all know him so well. I don't really think he needs an introduction, but we're gonna allow him to introduce himself anyway. Who we got in the mix with us this evening?
In case y'all forgot, like Roy Jones say, it's Third Coast Sports TV. Wing in the building, man. Miss y'all. The season getting ready to kick off. Getting a whole bunch of things in order, you know what I'm saying, to make sure that the preparation is right for the season. But make no mistake about it, the Sox will remain the livest. Y'all know what it is.
Already. So like I said, man, a lot of stuff to talk about. And it's, like I said, man, we just really gonna kind of hip y'all to what's been happening. I think we had a members only stream, update all the folks who are members of the Patreon, members of the channel, you know what I'm saying? So that way, they kind of just have an idea what's up. Y'all notice some of the graphics change. Y'all know that happens. Things change up a little bit. But let's see what we got joining us, and then we're going to get into some good conversation. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. And, man, like I say, just keep y'all hip to it. Let me pause that. Let's see. Colton Watson, Houston, Texas Talk. What's the motherfucking deal? Master Race. What's the motherfucking deal? Purple Drink. What's the motherfucking deal? Footballer 503. What's the motherfucking deal? And shout out to both of y'all gentlemen. Shout out to H-Town Texans, Houston, Texas Talk, Purple Drink, Footballer 503. Professor Trill also for being channel members. Really appreciate it. Shout out to Jelly Roll God. Shout out to Roberto Solis. Jimmy R. What's the motherfucking deal, man? Glad that all of y'all could join us today. So, smash my fucking finger. That fucking hurt. Anyway, a couple of things to talk about, man. Just kind of want to hip y'all to what's been happening, what's been going on with the sauce. Like, I know people are like, oh, what's going on here, what's going on there. There hadn't been any sauce. What's happening with that? Did the sauce fall off? Did it get stale? None of these things have taken place. So don't believe that, right? We still chop it up frequently, and I've just had some things, like I say, handling because I transitioned about a month ago. And so getting adjusted, there's been a lot of stuff going on. Been having to take care of that. And then kind of just really want to do some things differently and really have a chance to sit down and chop it up with the round table. And man, like I say, trust me. Like when I say that we're going to have so much content coming for y'all, I mean, y'all got to really be looking out. The recorded content, it's going to be there. But the biggest thing, I think the biggest change, or I won't even say change, we just kind of went back to the original flavor and brought all the sauce back to one channel. So instead of, only Texans talk on this channel, it will be all sport. Like I say, like the moniker says, all sports, only Houston. Because I know people will get confused. Well, where's the sauce on this one, on that one? And there's no point in making it difficult. You know what I'm saying? If people want Texans videos, they're going to watch the Texans videos. Hey, Miss Uni, how are you doing this evening? I hope all is well, and be safe out there. I know in the education profession that things are a little sketchy right now, so I'm glad you could join us this evening. But like I say, it's just we're going to bring it all back the way it's supposed to be. And again, like I say, people are going to tune into the stuff that they want because, again, like I said, it's just too much work, sliding stuff to this channel, to that channel, getting people to try to figure out. So instead of getting rid of all the confusion, Rap Productions, what's the motherfucking deal? We're going to bring it back to everything back to the sauce. So all your Dynamo, your Dash, everything will be back here. Yep. So for those of y'all that wonder, because I know the last video was uploaded was Hector's Astros video. So if you hadn't seen that, check that out. Because Hector started on Sauce Sports TV, a weekly recap of the Astros games. Because it can be a bit much to try to hit every game. You know what I'm saying? So with the Astros series, it'll be a weekly recap. So Rockstar will get going once the playoffs get jumping off. I will get on that. I know I've been lacking on that. Of course, you want your soccer talk. Hector's been providing a lot of that, and especially, man, shout out to him because he did excellent with the Dash. I mean, he covered the Dash the entire way. Definitely kept me updated and knowing what was going on. Like I said, we watched the actual game in our super secret saucy Discord watch party. So if you're not a part of that, y'all, and trust me, if y'all are not a part of the Discord for football season, y'all finna miss out. Because what we got planned in the Discord for football season, it's going all the way down. Y'all be talking about y'all want live reactions and all that stuff. What we got planned for that is going to go down. But of course, we get back to the MMA, to the fight game and things like that. Y'all already know the man with the plan sitting right here with us. So just really, like I say, just want to touch base with y'all and just kind of get back to the sauce, get it back to the original flavor. Like, I think when we went all Texans, it allowed the Texans to dictate the energy of the channel. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of about getting away from that. Like, because again, it's never been all about the Texans. It's been about it's about Houston. Like, that's when we say it's about y'all. Like, y'all gotta understand. That's what we're saying. Like, it's about the fans. And if you're fans, you're not from Houston, but you fuck with the teams. Like, it's all about the people. But I guess that's the easiest way to say it. It's about the people. Because let's be honest, we talk about it time to time, especially the Texans don't bring that H-Town culture. So somebody has to bring you the Texans with that Houston flavor. Because I mean, a lot of the people that you got in the mainstream covering the Texans are not even from around here. You know what I'm saying? So again, it is what it is. They adopted it. It is what it is. But I saw somebody say we got an OT, and I know Lamar, and I know y'all are here for the Texans. So I'm gonna give y'all some Texans talk. I know Lamar Miller slid over to the Pats, right?
Right.
What are your thoughts about that?
Man, I didn't know that till I didn't even know that was a thing until about maybe 15, 20 minutes before you actually hit me up, and I saw it on because I've been traveling all day. You know what I'm saying? I just live from Boston. I'm out here in Texas now. In Dallas, I'm gonna be out here for the next couple of months. So we got a couple of special things that's gonna be coming y'all way pretty soon. You never know when I'm gonna knock somebody's door. You know what I'm saying? So as far as that goes, man, give me just a second, Honcho. I got a call coming. Now I got to real quick. I will conclude my answer real quick, but give me just a second.
Okay, take care of that. That's fine. There we go. So anyway, like I said, with Lamar going there, though, again, one of those situations where ex-Texan goes somewhere and finds success. Now, again, who are the Patriots this year is going to be very interesting to find out because, we're going to see what Cam Newton's going to do and all of that. But I'm going to be interested. I'm not going to say I'm going to pay attention to the Pat, but I'm definitely going to keep an eye out. Like I'm going to keep a little bit of my peripheral vision out. You know what I'm saying, to see what's going on with that, and if he finds success up in New England. But again, I don't expect a whole lot out of that. But again, you never know. Also, another change too that we are going to. I'm not going to say we're going to widen. Oh. Um, so like I said, we're gonna definitely widen up the conversation. We're gonna change the conversation about certain things around here. So it's like it's still the Houston conversation, but we got a lot more to talk about. Absolutely, the Rockets have been hooping, so that's why I say we'll definitely once again, like I said, once we get everything, once they get seeded and everything like that, we'll definitely be bringing the Rockets content. And you got
All
back
right,
on.
I'm back.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, but as I was saying, man, it was one of those things where it kind of just like jumped out real quick because I was traveling all day, so I didn't really get to keep up with a lot of news. The only thing I know we got the shout out to Ash Mill for dropping that in the Discord chat yesterday about the tackle that we were picking up. He called that, and I saw that. I mean, that's a good news for New England. I think their running style and the fact that they have Josh McDaniels, they'll be able to create something to be able to get him, and they'll utilize him a way that the Houston, Bill O'Brien can never use him. So I expect him and James White to be able to be a nice little tandem. I expect them running a lot of dual back situations, and it gives Cam Newton a nice little safety net. So now, what he did, he'll check it down to his damn running back. Lamar Miller can get shit done as long as James White. So I don't know any other weapons that they're trying to bring in, but right now this is a great move for the Patriots, moving in the right direction, and he already has history playing against them. Now he gets to play with them.
Okay. Well, shout out to Ray Rance in the house already. And DeMarcus, you sound like you having some personal issues going on over there, but you figure out your whole COD thing. Yeah, and like I say, and that's why I say you can't ever count the Patriots out. Like at this point with Belichick, you can't ever count them out. Like, trust me, he's got something going, and again, he knows, and I'm sure he's entertained everything pertaining to Cam. So I'm sure he like Belichick has a plan. Like he's not going to do anything without a plan. So then picking up Lamar, it'll be interesting to see because we'll have to see them. And we know what happens when ex-Texans venture against their own team. You know what I'm saying? So I think he may have a little something he may want to prove. We'll see ultimately what it is. Like I said, I have no harm, no ill will for him. I hope he succeeds. I hope he has success under the Patriots. And for those who are wondering too, with Saw Sports TV, what that's going to do, that's going to actually become more like an esports / like gaming channel. Yeah, ex-Houstonian period. So I know Hector has started well, I guess I gotta get it to stream to the YouTube. It's actually on Twitch now. I know he started. There's a Saw Sports TV channel. He started MLB The Show.
MLB.
And I guess Road to the Show with a Honcho character. And I mean, I ain't gonna brag on him, and he did knock out 2 home runs. He's playing with Corpus Christi right now, but follow that story. But like I said, yeah, the Saw Sports TV is gonna become more, like gaming. I say, I think we're gonna be doing some Madden. And we're gonna have some interesting things coming up with that. And, maybe a situation where get a chance if y'all fuck with the Madden or whatever, maybe have a chance to stream live or go live with the roundtable on a game or something like that. There's gonna be a lot of things we're going to be trying to implement here in the very near future. So, like I say, a lot of it is, like I said, we just want to, like I say, touch base and just let y'all know that don't worry, there's nothing that's happened to the sauce. It's just been kind of revamping some things and recalibrating some things, like I say, to bring y'all much more content, because there's really so much more that can be talked about that's not really being discussed. And even if there's a situation that goes down and just knock on wood that the NFL just doesn't play, or something happens, we got a contingency plan for that. Like, so there's absolutely no worries as far as what's going on around here. So we'll have plenty of that for y'all, man. So for all y'all who've been fucking with it, who've been definitely supporting the channel, we don't want y'all to get worried. I know people been kind of reaching out like, what's going on, or is everything straight? Yeah, everything's good. So, but like I said, with that though, just getting back but we know why y'all are here. The Texans is the main conversation, so y'all will get plenty of that. That will be the primary conversation. But then, like I say, just with some of the ideas, some things coming up this season, like I say, it's going to be a new feel, a new vibe to a lot of it. The same energy, same reason you've been fucking with the sauce, but it's just been time to do a lot of things differently. You know what I'm saying? To keep shit fresh. So, like I said, definitely let y'all hope you're looking forward to that. What else? Some other things have taken place. Like I said, we really didn't. I don't think we really dropped anything last week. So it's been a few things that have taken place over the weeks. And I'll be honest, I can't remember everything that's gone down, but I know that guys are kind of back in action. And people are starting to talk. You saw Patrick Mahomes post the picture, can't wait or something like that, and people are feeling a certain way about it, right? This Chiefs thing. Do you feel like the Chiefs Texans at this point right now where we are? Do you feel like that is a rivalry?
Well, yeah, and the reason why it will be is because these guys are going to be playing, the top teams, depending on who's the top teams, in their divisions are going to end up playing, some of the best teams in the league on a year-in, year-out basis. So expect the Houston Texans and Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes specifically to have a lot of matchups over the next few years, as far as their careers go. I mean, they're in the same draft. They both have great potential. We're seeing both of them excel at an extremely high level. They're 1-1 as it stands right now as far as their own matchup. So they could say they're even. Patrick Mahomes has an MVP as well as a Super Bowl MVP and a championship to go along with that. So it only elevates what Deshaun Watson will end up doing with the Houston Texans. I believe this man will sooner than later he will end up making a championship. He'll end up bringing a championship here. When he first got here, one of the main things I said right off the jump when I first started doing videos with you is I said that in 4 years he would bring the Houston Texans a championship. Will this be the year? We'll have to see. Not too sure, but depending on how some things are going, how the season shapes up, certain players are opting up. I don't really see if we were to win the championship, will it be against the best teams? Don't know, because we don't know how the season is going to shape up. We don't know who's going to contract any, we don't know who's going to contract corona. We don't know how this is going to hinder our guys, as well as the play on the field, so luckily if they execute, but from what I see from all of the social medias and everything that I didn't gather, everybody's working real hard. They're putting in a lot of time. They're, and you can see some cohesion as it stands right now. Deshaun Watson is, he's gotten better every year. So I see no reason why these guys, they won't play for him. Hopefully Tim Kelly is allowed to be able to do his position. Bill O'Brien backs up just a little bit and realize, he don't need to eat everything on his plate. Save some for later when you get hungry again. So you maintain your stress level as well as being able to call the game the way that it's supposed to. Now, I'm not saying I have any faith in Bill O'Brien, and I don't believe that he can do some of the things, but we would like to believe. We would like to give the benefit of the doubt to the coach who's won 4 of the last 6 AFC South championships to be able to elevate his team and put them in a better position. And he has a lot to prove with a lot of the moves that were made throughout this off season. So when the season kicks off in a month, we're going to know the same way we knew last year, as far as the defense, as far as the offense, what type of team we have going forward, what type of situation we're going to be in, and will this end up being a rinse and repeat, or will we actually come out crispy in the dryer?
Okay. So when you're looking at Bill O'Brien's moves, I know somebody said, kind of after the draft about giving things time, to see how they pan out, or trades to see how they pan out. You're supposed to give them 2 or 3 years. Well, this guy's been here, going on, year 7 now? What's this?
7.
Year 7, lucky number 7. I mean, is that still pertain to a guy in that position? I mean, after you've kind of had some tenure, like, do you still get to wait on the moves, or should we be expecting, an immediate payout from the moves that you make at this point in your
Take
career?
another call, Honcho. Give me just a second.
All right. Well, see, like I said, I'll answer the question myself, right? My thing is, like, I think that, he said, well, give it 2 or 3 years, and I think that's too much comfort. Like, I think that's too much room for a guy like Bill. Like, I don't know if people are going to be content, staying good, right? Because it's a good team. The Texans are a good team, right? Good enough. They're not great. They're not elite. Like, that's what it takes to be in the championship conversation. Now, with like we were just kind of referencing, with everybody opting out. I know a lot of Patriots players have opted out. Again, I don't have a list in front of me, and I'd have to see how that impacted an opportunity for Lamar. But with everything being kind of janky and everything going on, it's like, everybody's like, oh, this is kind of a throwaway season, or no, I think as an experience, because it's no longer like, I understand it's like his first head coaching gig, but he's no longer a rookie head coach. He's got he's got several seasons under his belt. You know what you're supposed to be accomplishing at this point. Like, I don't think that waiting 2 or 3 years down the road to see these moves is acceptable. Like, I'm tired of getting into the playoffs. And I'm going to say this year in and year out until it happens. And again, knowing what the Texans ownership and management, like, the likelihood is probably not good. They're going to be okay as long as people, well, they can't do it this season, but as long as people fill the seats, and as long as people are spending money, as long as people are buying merch, as long as people are still doing all of these things, then they're going to, they're not going to change. They're not going to make the effort. But it's like, I think we have to be bold, because people sit here and write, oh, well, he's gotten this, and he's won the division, he's done all these things, you've got us in the playoff. But, great teams realize when a coach is just good enough. There has to be a point when you pull the trigger. Like, this is not acceptable. We need somebody that can get us over the top. And again, I don't believe Bill is that guy. It's not about hating. It's not about, he has never proven it. Like, so when people say this, oh, you're hating on him, he's more likely to lose or to underachieve than he is to have success. But yet you have like a band, you have these people who are just like diehard Bill O'Brien cannot fail. But he's shown you, honestly, when you're talking about in the grand scheme of things, he's shown you nothing. And at this point, it's like, again, I don't know. I don't know. And so it is what it is. It's just like, I'm tired of accepting. I think the only way something happens, and I don't even think that's good enough, because I think the fan base said enough about what Hop and what happened with the Hop trade and everything like that. Like, so I don't even think if people get mad enough about the continued like being just good enough. I don't even think that the Texans will listen. The Texans don't listen to this fan base. Like, here's the proof that of all the organizations in this city, the Texans is the one that is listening the least to this. I mean, just look at again like how they market themselves, right? Every team in this city, the Dash. Was what 40H, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? No, they were holding down. 40H was, I think, the Dynamo. Like even the Astros, all these other things. It's so about Houston. Like, hey, it's Houston Bay. It's something Houston oriented. It's some type of reference. You've seen you've seen them implement, classic Houston music. You know what I mean? Yep. Like. They're like, okay, all right, I see you, Dynamo, I see you, Dash, okay, I see you, Astros, okay, but the squad that you would think, and we already know, the Rockets, what that is, like, so that's not even really a thing, but, like, it's the players embrace the city, but this organization, it seems alien, you know what I mean, and so, like, they're not listening to the fan base, as long as the fan base is lining their pockets, you know what I'm saying, so, like. And again, this is coming from a guy who at one point in time people said, they just hate so. I defended Bill O'Brien as long as I could. There were people who were riding Bill O'Brien's dick right now that were also on the fire Bill O'Brien train a couple of years ago when it started out 0-3, which is baffling to me. Because I'll say, even when we started out 0-3, I still defended Bill O'Brien. The videos are there. You can go back and see it like,
You defended all the way until you couldn't defend him anymore after the Colts game, and you've had enough.
Exactly, and so it was just like so. But you listen to people when you're not like saying, oh, everything's the greatest, the best ever about these teams. Like, they get upset. Like, man, we're gonna be realistic with you, like, right. Because again, on the grand scale of things, I'd rather be right than just say outrageous shit. Even though, you can say outrageous shit and people eat it up, and, that's what, people love, but it is what it is. But like I say, that's my thing. Like, so I don't think even if people got upset, like, that anything would happen to Bill. Bill is already kind of like the Marvin Lewis of the Texans. and it's just like I don't know what it's going to take to shake shit up. So I think if you have another season where the Texans make the playoffs, they may win the first game, and then get knocked out in round 2 or whatever. Like every year that goes by, I'm setting the standard higher and higher for Bill. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
as you should.
Huh? And it's just, yeah, because I mean, the more experience you have, the better you should be, right? Like, and you have tools now. You had tools in some positions that were the best of their position in the league, and weren't able to necessarily capitalize or maximize that. So again, my whole deal is just like, I hope it. I don't want to be wrong. Like I'd love to be, talking about, hey, he's the Crow, Bill's the guy, Bill's the greatest. You know what? I will a Bill O'Brien T-shirt or some shit. They win. I'm not gonna go too far, but it's just like I don't see it. Like, and again, I'm a person who is I'm pretty firm in my conviction. It takes like something major to sway my opinions on something. You know what I mean? Like I gotta, something just has to change my whole vibe, and that's what happened after that playoff game. You can talk about injuries and all that other shit, like. And that's just, and it's never even been like Bill's fucking the. It's just I can't follow. He's not the guy. That's all it is. Like he's not the guy. So to be getting, levied with all this praise, like I get it. But you took a talented Texas team, minus the quarterback position for the first couple of years, and were able to win the South, which was boo boo. You know what I'm saying? It was trash. Like it was what it was. So like I mean, you should have won by default. Honestly, like. So I give him credit being a rookie head coach. It's not easy to win. I'll give him his due. I'm not going to take that away from him. But the position that he was in, I think most coaches would have found success, honestly. Like as bad as the South was. I mean, think about how the entire the NFL shitted on the South. Like anywhere you went, every time, that's the worst division in the football, hands down. We're talking several years in a row. You know what I'm saying? And so, again, I'd rather win it than be the worst in the worst division in football, so I'm not going to bitch about that. But at the same time, it's like, congratulations, Bill. All right, now I need to see some real accolades. Like, show me something on your mirror. Like, show me where Bill O'Brien did this. Bill O'Brien, this move is what took the Texans over the top. And so that's kind of where I'm like, to before I'll go back and say, oh, Bill O'Brien's he's doing good and great. I'll commend him on a good game or this, that. But I'm not going to be Team Bill until you. Again, it has to be a drastic, just like it was a drastic thing that made me say, okay, I'm done with it. It's going to have to be something drastic that's going to make me say, okay, you know what? All right, maybe I was wrong. Or maybe he's grown. Maybe he's gotten to the point where he is that. Now, some of the rumors kind of had me, they have my eye open. Okay, if he's delegating responsibilities, doing things we've said he should have been doing for years now, like, that almost like a no-brainer, like that you would think that's what you would do, because you saw fucking Vrabel go into Tennessee. That's the first thing he did. He wasn't trying to do too much. He wasn't trying to be too hands-on shit. He got out there and got a little rough with the players. He showed them coach wasn't no punk. But outside of that, he let his coaches do their jobs. You know what I'm saying? And that's been the problem here. That let me see. Say something that went.
No, but I was saying, I agree with what you're saying, man. I mean, at what point do you, this just lets you know, and this puts everything in perspective, that Mike Vrabel can immediately take over. He ruins your defense with Snail, but I will give him some rope and say the front seven was playing at an elite level, even with just Jadeveon Clowney, Cunningham, McKinney, and Reader. And all the other role players that you had in the front seven, they handled their business. It was the back end that was just getting their ass kicked every week. We were playing against some of the best quarterbacks in the league. We had a rookie quarterback who had just went out. We had a plethora of injuries. I'm willing to concede that, okay, maybe I'm willing to say that we just in the midst of the way that season went, maybe we're a little bit too harsh on Mike Vrabel.
I can understand.
Just a little bit. And you say, and I say this because he goes 9-7 back to back in 2 consecutive years, but then goes to an AFC championship and only lose by 11 points to the Super Bowl champion. Regardless, some people will say a loss is a loss. I don't care what we lost by, how you lose. If they were actually competitive in the game.
Correct.
Of anything of what I want for the Houston Texans, it ain't that we got to blow somebody out every week, but I need it to be known this ain't no whole ass team.
Correct.
We need this team to be fucking competitive. Competitive week in, week out. I don't want to leave it all on the motherfucking line. I don't want to guess. I'm tired of guessing as a fan. I'm tired of saying and being predicting the game to the T of what they should do, but they don't do it. And it's like, if you would have done what we said,
yeah, it would have been okay.
I don't understand how fans are able to come up with game plans that are way better than what the head coach. He gets into a brain fart. He has a brain fart, and all kind of things. And at this moment right now, you're in a division where Mike Vrabel is better than you as a head coach already 2 years into his own job in Tennessee. Yeah. They believe in him. They're making moves. They're making their roster better. They're drafting well. They're developing guys at a high level. The defense for them is only going to get better. Once they find them a D tackle or a nose tackle to fit their scheme, I think it's going to be game over. And the biggest thing about that team, a casual fan of the sport who isn't really paying attention to what Derrick Henry is doing is going to say, oh, they're going to run into the ground. Well, you can't really say that because the first couple of years, he had DeMarco Murray at the helm in front of him. Then when he did take over, they didn't really run him like that. They didn't really start running him until the last 2 seasons. So now he's going to be able to ramp up and have a 300 carry season. And he'll be able to do that for a good 3 or 4 more years easy because he doesn't have, besides his hamstring or whatever it was that he was pulling, which is, we don't know if that'll end up being a lingering injury. And we can say when it comes to the Houston Texans, when the Houston Texans are healthy, he's no threat to us. And I believe that to be the case even this year. The only way that the Tennessee Titans win games against us, even with Bill O'Brien under the helm, is if we're resting players or the team is depleted health-wise. Yeah. Outside of the fluky game that they had, where Deshaun had a horrible decision at the end of the game, and that whole little situation. They beat us by 3 points. A win's a win for them. They can say that they got that win, and it still hurts that we lost to Blaine Gabbert. Yeah. But the team is getting better. Now they have A.J. Brown. Now they got other guys that they brought onto this roster. They still have their secondary is still better than ours. Sure. I mean, so when they already have things in place that we still have that are a problem, their O-line was trash to start the season, especially playing especially with Mariota at the helm. Yeah. Then the moment that Tannehill takes over, the man has a $100 million contract. Regardless of what he may not have won the playoff game, but he didn't lose the playoff game either. Yeah. He did more than enough. He did more than enough to make sure that team could get to an AFC championship. That is something that Bill O'Brien can say that he has with a top-5 quarterback in Deshaun Watson. When you can't get it done with Deshaun Watson, and I understand the players have to execute. I understand the players have a job to do. I am not absolving the players from any of their wrongdoing because they make mistakes as well, and they got to get it done on the field. So it's more Bill O'Brien because when they do get in a tight spot, when they do get a big head on the field, why are you not the man to calm them down and say, shut the fuck up? We ain't won nothing. So when people say, how can you blame the coach? That's how I can blame the coach. When he doesn't hold them up and say, get y'all fucking head out of your asses. We ain't won a goddamn thing. Stop playing games. Stop taking your head off. Stay taking your foot off of the neck and keep on the same, path that you were before you ultimately lost the game. So that's what we have when it comes to Bill O'Brien. If maybe this season will be different with him having people delegated and allowing them to fully do their jobs, because we don't know how good these coaches are truly, because Bill O'Brien is in the way of so much potential across the board. We're not just talking about players. We're talking about coaches too. We wanted Sean Ryan to stay here before he was let go. We wanted Wes Welker to stay here before he was let go. Right. It made no sense for Rack to have a different position and be an assistant head coach and have Mike Vrabel be in the defensive coordinator situation when you just had the #1 defense in the league. Who does that?
Correct.
Who does that? The Houston Texans and Bill O'Brien.
And then, like I say, the thing about the coaching, which is really interesting that you brought that up, because I want to get on those two guys because I think it's going to be real important coming up this season to pay attention. What's going to happen. Tim Kelly came out the other day and he was saying, that he didn't ever get a chance to really call plays during a regular season game. Only in the preseason, so he's looking forward to that. And I think it's very interesting that he's going to be thrown into the fire. You know what I mean? Like, you are going to be in a very tough situation, the first couple of games. And then you have Weaver on the other side, who's, who was, as we call Anthony Exotic, saying he wants to do exotic things. He's having fun, drawing up creative schemes and things like this. I have concerns because, we've talked about Billy O, relinquish, your responsibility, like, let these guys do what they do, delegate the responsibility to these guys, let them coach, let them do what they are. But you got two basically first-time guys. In name only was Tim Kelly OC last year. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, if he didn't call plays, like, that shows you kind of what it is. I think that's not really an OC job. I mean, you're not really an offensive coordinator if you're not calling plays, in my opinion.
Right.
So now you got two guys who are going to be at the helm, having major responsibilities for the first time. And again, going up against some teams that are stacked, that are bringing back the majority of their team. I think you've had a lot of turnover on the Texans too, in certain areas, very important areas where I think chemistry is essential. So we don't know where that is. I mean, like, how do you feel like Bill O'Brien is truly comfortable letting these guys handle their duties, or do you think at some point, if things are not going very well, that he reassumes his role as in play calling?
I look at it this way. For one, you employed him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either you don't know how to employ the right personnel, or you do, and they end up in a situation like Wes Welker going to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So immediately going to Super Bowls. Now you got assistant coaches going to Super Bowls immediately.
Yeah.
Who the hell thought that San Francisco would go to the championship last year before the season? We're not talking about, okay, the way this up. They were like, okay, bro, we might need to watch the fuck out for San Francisco. And San Francisco was just out here dominating.
Mm.
You have let far too much talent walk on this football team, and somewhere along the line, I just feel like something is going to end up rearing its ugly head, and it's going to be that pimple, which is Bill O'Brien. I think it's going. I don't know if he's just going to pop and just let the cesspool drain out, and pull the sack out, so that he can finally heal and become the head coach that he needs to be for the Houston Texans, or it's just going to keep regrowing over and over. He's just going to keep popping it over and over, and it's never going to get better. It's just going to be a lingering issue as long as this man is in charge. And I see the direction that Deshaun Watson is taking. And Deshaun Watson this year is not going to be playing the good guy role. I can see right now, because he's been very vocal. He's been having a whole lot to say. And he's been making it plain to the Texans organization, bitch, let it be known you ain't gonna find another Deshaun Watson, and the Texans have never been. For one, this is the most legitimate quarterback we've ever had in our franchise. So that means a singular quarterback in our history didn't come till 17 years after the fact.
Correct.
You are in no situation, whether you're Janice, whether you're the front office, whether you're the GM/head coach of Bill O'Brien, you are in no position to have Deshaun Watson pushed away to the wayside, because everybody is coming to the table. I could see a team like Pittsburgh throwing everything in the wind, because that's all they need at this point. All they really need at this point. They know how to draft. You got Mike Tomlin. You have a defense that's legitimate again. There are so many teams who are going to break the bank on Deshaun Watson, and we will rue the day, and we will never recover for that. And I definitely won't as a fan, because as I told you, if Deshaun Watson for any reason is no longer on this football team, I will never root for the Texans again. I will just do NFL news. I'll get traffic from other sources. We'll talk about the Texans, but they won't be the focal point of the conversation. If we're doing a weekly preview, which, Honcho will explain to you, some of the things that we'll end up bringing to the table, which I'm sure he explained in some facets. But we have other things that are coming along. But it is no way and no how I could ever root for this football team again. And Deshaun Watson is not the quarterback. It's no Trevor Lawrence. It's nobody. I don't even care if we won. I don't care if we won a championship. It don't make up for you losing Deshaun Watson.
No.
I could care less. It don't mean nothing to me. It wouldn't. It would be meaningless to me. And there's no such thing as a meaningless championship. But we already saw how DeAndre Hopkins, that move hurt the city. What do you think's going to happen if Deshaun Watson was to vacate the premises?
Yeah, and you got to be a hop like it only was just getting this appreciation.
Ain't no coronavirus, ain't nothing that can help this man because people are already trying to show up to his doorstep. He just happened to have security. Make no mistake about it, security ain't gonna stop shit if Deshaun Watson is up out of this thing because it's gonna be a bad day for him and his family.
But and here's the thing: what's gonna happen? Because these are Texans fans, you feel me? Like, and you can't put the QB thing, and I'm not saying that you did, but you can't put the QB thing on Bill. That's been like you said, a Texans organizational issue from day one. Like, I think Texas, the state of Texas produces so many quarterbacks, so many running backs. I mean, players of all positions and everything. I mean, this is Texas, especially Houston area. But like, you get Carr, don't protect him, touch a couple of records. Now I say, all right. Expansion team, got a lot of new faces in new places. People are learning on the go. There's no instruction manual for how to do this properly, right? You kind of figure it out. So the David Carr experiment did not go well, and it kind of is what it is. And then Kubiak, I guess because Schaub was serviceable and he was looking promising, so you didn't really trip on you. Like, he's not the worst. He's not the best. You see the numbers. Andre made it look real good. You had Foster. You had that line. So you had things that didn't make that didn't make the quarterback issue just stand out so much. Like, it wasn't one of those problems until he started the streak. And then you start noticing how big of an issue for the Texans quarterback has been. So you go through Fitzy and the other list of names and the Mallets and the Hoyers and, everybody else. And then you get to Deshaun, right? And it's like at this point, like part of it is it's Bill O'Brien because, you haven't had a decent line for a little bit. It hadn't really been that good aside from Brown. And then you have a situation where, nobody saw him getting hurt the rookie year. You can't control it. I won't blame you for the rookie year. It is what it is. Like, you kind of got to go with what you got. You start to see what's happening. All right. At that point, somebody in the organization, ownership, somebody has to say, hey, we got to make sure that we're protected. We're getting rid of a lineman who's been one of our better players for years. So we don't have this guy to protect him. We're just going to leave him out to the wolves for a couple of seasons. And it's like, I don't know who is at fault for that. Like I say, it's like it has to be a point where, you're your coach and say, okay, this is my guy. But like somebody in the Texas organization has to say, fuck, man, look, we didn't have this issue for a long time. Who chimes in and says something has to be done? Or you're giving all this power to Bill, which of course we know he has the power and he's not listening to anybody. And I mean, you can't. But it's just frustrating. So if a situation did happen where Deshaun was out of here, honestly, I think the Texans end up getting sold within the next 2 years. You feel me? Because I think everybody says, fuck that. Y'all obviously don't care. Y'all obviously don't care about winning. You're letting all the best fucking players go, and then hopefully even all the J.J. Watt stands will realize, oh, he set a bunch of records, but they wasted this man's career. Maybe y'all the J.J. Watt stands will kind of feel how we feel about Andre Johnson and guys like that. You had an opportunity, this organization had an opportunity to do some things, but this pseudo culture belief or whatever you got going on, it doesn't. What the fuck did I do? It doesn't pan out. It doesn't benefit on the field. You feel me? There we go. I was supposed to put that out there a long time ago. And so we're just in a situation where it's like, again, yeah, if he was to go, like, I think you had some people jump ship after Hop, but Hop never got that level of love around him for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe because, this is H-Town, and maybe it's the old school folks and the way he dressed, or I don't know. Hop never got that love like Andre did, even though I think he was on pace and on par to do something maybe Andre did not accomplish. Just that.
5 more seasons with the Texans. Because he's already like 80, I want to say he's already like 8,600 yards or some shit like that in 7 years. I mean, 2,100 yard, 215 plus 100 yard, past that, because his numbers are going to end up going up because he's in a pass happy, offense, and everybody's like, oh, but they ain't really going to do shit because of the, bro, shit changes real quick when teams are doing what they want. How many times has this happened? How many times is a team going from worst to first and they have a legitimate quarterback in Kyler Murray who's going to be able to rectify some mistakes? He's fast. He makes good plays, great arm, very accurate. And now he has 3 legitimate receivers and a decent and a running game. I mean, the only thing that they're really going to have to work on, and even behind the porous O-line, I think Kyler Murray can still get it done. I feel like, I'm not putting him in the category of Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson, but he has more than enough athleticism to be able to compensate for any breakdowns within the O-line. And fucking DeAndre Hopkins is more than capable of. He's in a much easier system now, like way easier. So like what nobody talks about when it comes to fucking. Look at how many changes and look what type of systems this man has come through with the Houston Texans alone. The rest of this shit, easy. And if he can get a 15 with well over 110 pitches with 11 touchdowns with 2 bums in 2015, I don't know how anybody could make the case to say that his production is going down. Who's going to take the production away from him? Christian Kirk? Larry Fitzgerald? Get the fuck out of here. It's not happening. He was getting it done with Case Keenum, Brock. The only person who brought this man down in any situation is Brock Osweiler. Correct. And if Brock Osweiler, that just goes to show you how trash he is. No one else can say this. Everybody else who threw this man the ball got it done with the exception. Him and Schaub were the only 2 guys who couldn't get it done with Schaub. But 9 other quarterbacks got it done in the process. Makes no sense to me.
And the majority of them might not even have a job right now. And so that's the crazy thing about it. But like I say, and I'm going to be looking forward to it. I'm still going to be rooting for Hop.
Absolutely.
And I see what Heidi's saying, though. Again, yeah, a lot of it was on Hop because it was so much he was carrying the team. And again, certain Texans fans will swear to you that Hop didn't do shit around here. He wasn't all that. He took away from Deshaun. Like, I think Deshaun's a bright kid. I think he knows what's going to work best, and I think he knows who's capable of what. And I think there's a legitimate reason as to why he leaned on Hop as much as he did, even when Fuller was available, and even when other guys were available. There's a reason for these things, all right? So there's a level of confidence that's built up, and it is what it is. But he's gone. So here we are. But like you said, and 3 B plus in my opinion. I don't know if you got 3 B plus. That's a little close to A. I think you got 3 guys in the B range. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't. I don't know. I think Fuller's a guy who could leap into that A range if he could stay healthy and prove it. But until then, he's kind of like a novelty. You know what I mean? Like, until you show me that you're a guy that can be depended on, like we know you're going to be here. Hey, it's an important game. We know we're going to have Fuller available for this game. Like, that hadn't always been the case, and sometimes not even completely. So it's like I don't know what his legacy. And even if you do have a full healthy season from Fuller this year, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, does that change the narrative on him? You got 1 full season in the year you're getting paid, your contract year you're getting paid. Like,
it would be right on time for him. Now, you do have a lot of guys. Drew Brees was in the situation. Matt Schaub was in the situation. There's been plenty of people who've been. Jadeveon Clowney was in the situation for the first couple of years of his career. Little injuries here and there. It don't take away. It don't really take away from it. But people start to put that bus. People just wave the bus label over anybody. They're not talking about production. They're talking about, oh, he didn't play in the game. Whatever. Impact. He's. We've seen he's been one of the most impactful players, if not the most impactful player. And I don't mean like he's making all the plays. It's something about this guy that he brings, and when he's on the field, it's just too much shit that can go on. You can go underneath, you can go up top. I understand, and I saw the vision when they brought in Brandon Cooks. When you got all of these guys who can speak, he can play. Brandon Cooks, even if he plays like during the regular season, I'm not talking about in the postseason, but during the regular season, if he can play 14 to 15 games, that'll be great. I'm not gonna say a person is injury prone or he didn't play no games, because they did that same shit to Jadavian Clowney last year. He misses 3 games and people act like, oh, he's just injury prone. Nigga, he missed 3 games. He played 13 games and played in the playoffs. What are you talking about? And I'm not even getting about Jadavian Clowney. I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah.
Because people do this shit all the time. Drew Brees. Drew Brees was in this position. When he was with the Chargers, goes to the Saints. What is he? Super Bowl champion.
Correct.
Throwing 400 yards, throwing 5,000 yards. He didn't hit, he got like 4 or 5,000 yard seasons?
So crazy.
How many people? There are a lot of people who overcome injury. Frank Gore, he's 3rd all time in rushing. Come on, man. Sometimes some people you just have to give them time, and I don't see Bill O'Brien wanting to give a guy like Will Fuller away, because if he goes to any other team, especially if he goes on the opposition, because he's a perfect plug and play person for a team like Kansas City, the Ravens, the Steelers, any top team that you can think of that can even remotely do anything in the regular season plus the postseason, or has any aspirations to be good, you don't want this man on your squad. So for that reason and that reason alone, I see them giving him a contract. Are they going to end up paying him a whole bunch of money? I don't know. I don't see it, because he hasn't had 1,000 yard season. He hasn't had one season where he had his yard per catch, his yards after the catch. That's all great, his impact and what he can do. But now this is another thing. See, that was the case when Bill O'Brien was calling the plays, managing the game, doing all of this and doing all of that. Maybe that changes under Chip Kelly. And if he I don't want to say I don't see him regressing, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did. And if he was a product of having DeAndre Hopkins on the field, and you have nobody that's DeAndre Hopkins like on this football team, and he doesn't have the best season going into his contract year, then what does that say about Will Fuller and the impact that they claim that he made without DeAndre Hopkins?
I think that's going to be a big thing. I think it's going to be a huge key, because that's something I've been wondering too. Because you've seen Hop do it without Will. We haven't seen Will do it without Hop. So there's kind of an unknown commodity there, an unknown issue there that we have to see. So hopefully, like I said, it does translate. Hopefully, there's no drop off for the benefit of Texans, for the benefit of his connection with Deshaun. But we won't know until we know for sure. But like I said, you got people who are really acting like Hop was irrelevant, like he had no benefit. But one last thing I want to get into before we get ready to slide. And I know there was an Astros fight. Y'all know Hector's the Astros guy. So as soon as he's available, we'll definitely have Hector on. But another note, it's gonna be every night here, 6:00 on the Sauce, right? So it's that way. Y'all ain't gotta hop Sauce Sports TV here. It's just everything's gonna be here. But something that I've been seeing a lot of people floating around, a lot of people talking about, and you guys got to, in my opinion, stop letting quotes get you too hype, about certain things. They should get you maybe hype about a person's mindset, but sometimes people say things and it just sounds good, right? So JJ says, body has not felt as good as it has since 2014, 2015. Now, come on, people. He specifically referenced these 2 years for a reason, right? You know what I'm saying? What are you talking about, Heidi? I'm on MLB The Show. I got 2 home runs for the Corpus Christi Hook, so I know all about baseball. But, like, and he referenced these 2 years for a reason, right? And again, like, here's I won't say here's one thing. There's a lot of things you can commend J.J. Watt on. But J.J. is a master marketer. And I don't think people realize, like, J.J. is always aware of his brand and he's always on top of his brand. And I commend him for that because, I mean, it is what it is these days. Your personal brand is very important. But, you know, you got a lot of fans who get super hyped. You know, a lot of this fan base is mainly J.J. Watt fans. You know what I'm saying? And so I've seen people say, oh, he's going to go back for Defensive Player of the Year again this year. Like, because he referenced those 2 years. Look, JJ is still extremely capable of being a damn good player. He's going to have an impact on pretty much any game he's in. You know what I'm saying? But I would not go out and bet my money on JJ Watt winning Defensive Player of the Year this year. Okay? So, I know y'all are hyping and there's nothing wrong with getting excited about that. But let's not go too far. But I'm glad that he's feeling good because, I mean, that's a good sign. You know, he's had to coming at a deal with a lot of injuries, you know, up until this point. So, like I say, I mean, if he's feeling good, no excuses. And I'm hoping to see a good season from him. Do you expect a double-digit year from JJ this year?
Man, until the dude get it done, same way he had to get it done in 18, it's the same thing he's going to have to do in 20. You know, I don't want to have to go with a going back and forth, but regardless of the fact whether he has a good season or not, his time is up after the season. I mean, you can't kick the tires on a guy like J.J. Watt and not want to increase the depth and the overall talent and speed. You can't claim you want speed, height, weight, and you want all of these measurables, and then you do nothing to ensure that you have proper depth behind him if he does go down. And you definitely don't have anybody across from him as it stands right now until they actually prove it on the field. Yeah, we have some guys who could wake up in the wings. I like what Charles admitted he was doing right now in the offseason. I love what he's doing. I see what he's doing. I like that, you know. I think Blacklock is going to be nice. I think Dunn and Dunn and Blackson and all those guys are going to be the guys that continue to be. They're going to be very solid in the run. JJ, you know, he was playing well last season, you know, before his injury, but he had a lot of games where he was really missing in action too. You know what I'm saying? Which is uncharacteristic. You know, he was diving way more. You know, he just wasn't making plays when you take in the Saints game and, you know, the Kansas City game. You know, his best game was probably the Chargers game, hands down. Game because I rewatched that and I was like, yeah, he was all over the field. He was doing a whole bunch of shit, you know. But I mean, his time's almost up. And at the end of the day, if you were willing to get rid of one all-time great Texan, you got rid of several all-time great Texans already. Why are we not in the business of letting these players go when we need to let them go so that he can be somebody else's issue? I'm not worried about him. If he was to leave this team, I'm not worried about JJ Watt wrecking the game and sacking a guy like Deshaun Watson. If he has Dak Prescott problems, if he can't sack Tony Romo, why in the fuck am I worried about him sacking? he's gonna chase that. Like, think about that. He somehow is gonna be able to chase down Deshaun Watson and make a sack. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. Okay, all right. Believe that if you want. I love the guy. Love what he does for the community. He's a great player, greatest defensive player that we have as of now. What will we see later in time? We don't know. But even with a guy like that, you still got guys like Whitney Merciless. He got a contract a little bit too early. Now I know you got guys like Jonathan Grenard, and you brought in John Reed and all of these guys, and what's called just came off of the pup. Garyon Conley just came off the pup list today, so he's good to go. Lonnie's putting in work. The DBs look like they're doing something, but until we actually see them go up against quarterbacks, because they're going against the best quarterback in the game, and then they got to follow that up with the second or third best quarterback in the game as it stands right now. So what are we really talking about until we actually see it? Do I want to have all the hope just like everybody else? I want to just talk shit. I want to just say, man, we finna fuck these boys up and actually make that come true. I don't want to come out of character if I don't have to for this football team.
Okay. Seeing as where the Texans are right now, right, in the position that they're in, would you be entertaining offers? 'Cause, I mean, the Texans they could use some assets, some future assets. We know they're going to be without in the upcoming years. Like, if you're Bill O'Brien, are you entertaining offers? If somebody's saying, hey, what would you take for JJ?
Why? So he can get scammed again? If he couldn't get assets for Jadeveon Clowney, if he can't get fucking assets, and wouldn't it be some shit? You know what? Wouldn't it be some shit? He couldn't get fucking assets for Clowney or Hopkins, but he's able to get assets for JJ Watt. But at the end of the day, who's willing to bet the farm on JJ Watt? A team like the Titans could choose to make that investment, because they building something that they have over there. But then he has other teams in the NFC that are more than capable. A team like the Chiefs, if they really needed some defensive help to go along with Frank Clark, Chris Jones, that would be a perfect team for him to be playing on as it stands right now. And then he'll finally be able to get that championship he so long deserves. But what type of compensation, like at the most, what type of compensation do you think we could get? Because if Bill O'Brien is involved in this deal, I don't see us getting any more than a third or fourth round pick. Maybe.
And honestly, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe you might be able to squeeze out maybe multiple thirds. And I think why is I think you got to look at the injury history. Like, anybody's gonna look at him and say, there's no way. Like, we don't know what we're getting. You may feel good. You've come back feeling good. All these other things. Like, I think so. If you're the team making an offer, you're gonna be like, nah. But I think, knowing when healthy and what he can do. Again, like I said, it's still an extremely serviceable player. Like,
right.
So that's why I'm kind of gauging. Like, do you weigh the pros and cons of it, or what JJ could give you? Like I said, like he gave you a couple of years ago when he bounced back. What would he have? 14, 16, something like that that year? I forgot how many sacks he had.
Yes. And I also look at it like this too, huh? Just a quick little interjection. If you're gonna deal JJ Watt, you have to deal him with a team who always gets a shitload of picks, i.e. the Browns, i.e. the Vikings. A team like that. The Vikings, bro, they ended up moving back and forth, doing shit in the draft. These motherfuckers had 12 draft picks this year. The Browns, they always have draft picks galore. Yeah. So if you deal him to a team like that, so be it. Yeah. So be it. I mean, that's just what it needs to be. But I don't see any team like that really coming to the table for what they're going to get. If they do get it, it's just going to be because they love him as a human being. They love what he did versus what he's doing right now. And maybe they feel, hey, we can move JJ Watt in the middle. We can move him anywhere on the line right now, and we can put him in a more exotic situation even than what he's ever had in the Texans. And I believe if he was to go to the Browns right now with what they have built up front, him with Myles Garrett, that would be fucking crazy.
Who else they picked? Who the Browns? The Browns picked somebody else up, didn't they? Didn't they pick up another pass rusher this year?
They probably did. I'm
thinking, slipping my mind right now. I know it's finna go down.
But they can use them, even though their defense is probably the best focal point of that team right now, outside of Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Parker and Aaron Jones. But outside of that, I mean, their line's dwindling. They don't have the tight end game the way that they once had. and they don't have any other receivers outside of that. So I'm not sure if a team like they are going to willing to invest, But depending on what a guy like John Lynch or Bruce Arians or one of these veteran head coaches, hell, Ron Rivera, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's a lot of guys that have possibilities to make a move or goes, but I mean, it's not going to be up to him, but ultimately, if he was to be on a team like that or being surrounded by that kind of talent, I could see him still having a couple of more good years. And at the end of the day, it really won't be missed because we'll end up having to, bring somebody, because no matter who we bring in, they're not going to be J.J. Watt. But they can be themselves and they can get to the play, and as long as they can disrupt and make it hard for the quarterback, that's all that's going to be needed for the Houston Texans going forward.
I agree.
We don't Hall of Fame player. If we just need somebody very good who can get the job done.
Like I said, with JJ, man, then you look at a couple of things. I look at it like, do you owe him the opportunity to maybe go somewhere else and have a shot? You know what I'm saying? Like, or we know as Texans fans, we know and love him and everything. I know people don't ever want to see, your favorite player. It hurt to see Andre put on a different uniform. You feel me? Like, so I get how some people would feel if, I felt it hot. Just every time he posts a goddamn Arizona jersey. You know what I'm saying? That shit irks me, but it is what it is. I can't be mad at Hopkins for that. That's what he plays for. So like my deal is just, it's like, to me, I'm kind of stuck between that. Like, do you try to deal JJ, get some assets that you're lacking over the next couple of seasons, try to recoup that? Or, knowing Bill O'Brien and kind of being 50-50 on him, like, if he did get assets, would he utilize them, in a manner where we got that value? Or, again, like I said, it's kind of a gamble on JJ. Does he bounce back and have a season where, damn, we should have kept him. He ends up impacting the game like that. Like, it's just so many variables with it. But again, like I said, I don't know. But it's interesting. I think it would be fucked up to send him to Cleveland, though. But I think if you were in addition, like, you'd have to hear a good enough offer. And I think out of appreciation, even though everybody don't get the appreciation treatment, like out of appreciation, I think you go to a team where you has a chance of winning something. You know what I'm saying? Like, put some hardware with the other accolades.
There's only two scenarios. It's either he plays out his contract. They just don't re-up, and he can choose to go wherever he wants to go, and that's one scenario. Two, you deal them during the season. If guys are stepping up so much, they're like, man, we need some extra assets, and we need a first-round pick for this year. Go ahead and throw this. Let's go ahead and throw him out to a team that really needs a pass rusher. I think that's what you would have to do. But if you end up doing that, especially if a team is desperate, you take them for everything.
Yeah.
You take them for everything.
Yeah.
You don't hold back. Take them for everything the same way you've been taking for everything the last 2 years for the players that you've let up. Regardless, too many top 100 players have left under Bill O'Brien's watch. Regardless of the GM, under Bill O'Brien's watch, I even seen something as far as, just to deviate even from J.J. Watt. I seen something that even the Honey Badger said. He was like, I like Bill. I was cool with Bill. He was like, Bill wasn't even really the problem. He was like, Bill wanted me.
Yeah.
He was like, it was other factors as to why I wasn't signed. So, are we missing something? Are we speaking out of turn? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I can't see that really being a benefit because I know what his guys look like and they still remain on the team. If you were really his guy, you would be on the football team. Bill O'Brien doesn't have the nuts. How can Bill O'Brien can have the nuts to get rid of DeAndre Hopkins on his own watch, but he doesn't have the nuts to step up to give him or offer him an extra $2 million so that he doesn't go to a Super Bowl with Kansas City and becomes an All-Pro? And you mean to tell me another year with him and Justin Reed, especially the way that Justin Reed started off the season and the way that they were playing together, especially when you bring in guys like Garyon Conley and how people want to blow up Roby and act like, oh, he's just this all-world player. And I know we have guys who are making videos and saying, oh, Roby's going to be all that. Bro, let's just pump the brakes. Let's just see, bro. Like, yeah, come on, man. Like, to each his own, but we gotta pump the brakes. It's one thing to say that this guy's just so good that the Texans can't do nothing without him, and just saying that he's an above-average player who can do some good things in some games, but he doesn't show up to every game. So we have to wait and see once again. And when are you going to be tired as a Texas fan of having to wait and see?
That's the biggest issue, because it seems like I feel like every other organization in this city, you know, they attack, they make moves. I mean, look at the damn Dash. The Dash were not expected to do shit. The Dash just overhauled their fucking roster basically, brought in a bunch of new names, young folk, like, and these women hadn't even played together. And again, the format may have been conducive for the situation, but all these other teams, again, having, you know, veteran teams, like they did what they had to do to win the games. Like, so every other team was in the same situation, the same opportunity. They took advantage of it. You look at the Rockets. Now, we can talk about where they faltered in the last year. Again, to who? Golden State? That's been the team that everybody says, oh, has been the greatest team in history. Like, can you fault them for that? And you've seen James take this team with a bunch of ragtag motherfuckers look like niggas from the Y, like, and run them. And then when he started getting some help in Paul and you know, and we'll see what happened to Russ, it became a more of a legitimate threat. Like, so you start seeing these teams, they do things to try to make shit happen, to like to instantly compete, and that's like my deal with the tech. It's almost like paralysis by analysis, like overthinking the shit and then jumping on too late. Like, now it looks like, you know, you were emulating the Patriots for so many years, you know, because they was kicking your ass. You finally beat them, and now Kansas City beating the shit out of you. They bullying your motherfucker. Now I'm gonna start emulating the Kansas City. Like, it's almost like, what the fuck is really going on with this team and its identity? Like, that's when it comes down to everything. That's the biggest fucking issue the Texans will have. Like, it's always been, even under the Kubiak era, it was the fake Bronco. Like, this team has never had an identity. There's nobody going to say, hey, let's emulate the Texans.
Well, no, we can't say that, Honcho. We can't say. We was play action and we were running down your motherfucking throat with the zone scheme. I can't. No, we had an identity.
You feel like that?
But no, we had an identity. We was launching that motherfucking ball. We had one of the better offenses for years under Kubiak.
Yeah.
10, 11, 12. I mean, we got some seasons, you know, 8. I mean, we got some. I can't fully agree with you when you say
but what I'm saying,
identity.
But what I'm saying with that, we had an offensive identity. But what I'm saying is, where did that identity come from? Would you agree that was Denver style of ball?
Part of the Shanahan tree. That Shanahan model has worked out for so many different. Because only 3 or 4 coaches are really pulling that off. Kubiak, Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan, you know, and the McVays. But McVay comes from the Andy Reid tree, but they run a similar style, but we run a lot of, that bootleg game with the Shanahans and Kubiak, that's a whole nother animal, man. You know, so and it's worked. He got a Super Bowl out of it. Yeah. So can we really say that that model actually works?
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna knock it. Like,
have the talent, and one thing that I can say that he really didn't have going into the 13th season was the talent was dwindling. So many guys weren't re-signed. They didn't really do anything in free agency. The draft sucked. Like, I mean, it's just one of those unfortunate situations where they didn't replenish the talent that they lost. Correct. And that's the only reason he is not a head coach for the Houston Texans from the 2013 to now. It's because of that reason. They did not replenish the talent that they lost. And you believed in Matt Schaub for far too long when you could have had Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning gets to them in the 2012 season, goes to a Super Bowl 2013, goes to an AFC championship in 14, goes back to the Super Bowl and wins because of his defense, and he retires. So that's 3 years we could have had a Peyton Manning, but ultimately, that wasn't going to work anyway. And you saw that in Denver, Peyton's last season. Now, you could say because Peyton was a shell of himself, but let's be real. Kubiak don't allow dudes to just change plays and do audibles and be their own coach, shit like that. So that's something that hindered Kubiak as well. Even with a guy like Peyton Manning, if him and Peyton Manning was butting heads in 2015 in a Super Bowl year, what makes you think that's not the case in 2012 all the way into the year he was released from the team?
Yeah. And, Peyton gonna talk this. I've been kicking your ass all this time. You better listen to me, boy.
Hey.
But, and again, it is. And I think, but, even you had a lot of old players that said that Kubiak, after I think the Baltimore thing changed him a little bit. They said, like, his personality changed. They said that's where he kind of grew as a coach. Mm-hmm. And, again, I reference this all the time when I talk about Bill O'Brien. He needs the same thing. Like,
exactly.
he's plateaued, he's peaked. He has to get kicked off his high horse. He has to recognize, like, again, because he's been given so much power, like, he's infallible. Hit the ground kind of hard, take his hat off, rub his head, figure out, look around, what's going on, and then gather himself, figure out where he went wrong, fix those problems. Because honestly, Bill O'Brien's not the worst ever. He's a service, like, he's a coach. Like, I'm not going to say he's good, great. He's like, so if he had the opportunity to fix those flaws.
How good is Bill O'Brien? How good is Bill O'Brien right now? Instead of Mike Zimmer employing Kubiak as the OC, he employs Kubiak as the OC. How good do you see this team being if he fully lets him delegate the offense as far as play calls?
You said if it was,
all he had to do is coach.
If you're saying that if Zimmer let Kubiak,
I'm saying if Bill O'Brien, instead of Zimmer employing Kubiak as an OC, if it's a situation where he wouldn't have been on and he's our OC with what we have right now, especially with what we have right now. You
said if Kubiak was here as our OC right now, if he was
just as an OC, no head coach, the OC with what we have with Duke Johnson, David Johnson, Cooks, Bales, Thomas, Akins, Kahale Warren, Cobb, Kiki. And this O-line? I don't know, man. I
wouldn't be about like I said, my thing is, again, my beef with Kubiak was Schaub related, we that whole situation and what it is. I give Kubiak more credit, honestly, than Bill. And the reason why I say it is because Kubiak kind of had to build from nothing.
From the Texans, everywhere he went, none of those teams. Have you? I didn't even realize that shit just now. Do you realize since Kubiak has left his team, no team that he's took over has lost lost under 10 games. Every team he went to from this point on, 10+ games. Ravens, I think they were 10-6 the year he took over. And Justin Forsett ended up getting a contract off of what he did with Kubiak because they had lost Ray Rice that year.
Yeah.
He goes to Denver. Super Bowl. They were what? Even with Brock Osweiler, I'm gonna say they were what, 11-5, 12-4?
Something like that. Yeah.
To win the Super Bowl. I know most of that shit is gonna get credited to Wade and what he did with that defense because it was just too live. Think about what he just did with the Minnesota Vikings.
No. They
won like 10, 11 games last year with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins had his best year under Kubiak. Kirk Cousins, Joe Flacco, Matt Schaub have had their best years under Gary Kubiak. That's saying something.
I wouldn't be opposed to it, honestly. Like I say, because here's my deal. Like, as deadly as that bootleg game was, and could you imagine Deshaun Watson?
Jesus, I want it so bad.
Like, now, the only thing that I would like a little bit more than that is if Hopkins was still here and he was in the place of Andre. But, that, it is what it is. Then you would see how that was supposed to be executed. Because
dudes will be schemed open all game. Because one thing you can say, that motherfucker schemed you open.
Yeah.
Andre, wide ass open.
Yeah. Like,
I
no,
mean,
this is the best player on the field, hands down, and this motherfucker's just running fucking ass naked down the field every other play. Like, I mean, it was just like I give Kubiak that. Like, Kubiak legitimately knew how to capitalize on what he had. Bill, I think he tries to make people fit into his mold. Like, okay, you got talent, you got skills, make them, fit to what I'm trying to do.
he needs to change. And he doesn't have a foolproof scheme. He doesn't come from any football coaching tree. Bill Belichick does not call offensive plays for the New England Patriots. So Josh McDaniels is the reason that they've had success on offense over the last few years. You're nowhere near Josh McDaniels in calling plays. You weren't calling the plays in New England around that time when you were there. So to sit here, I mean, true enough, the media painted him with the labels of quarterback guru and this and that, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
But I mean, you do got a video.
Product of any coaching tree. He really isn't. Bill Belichick, the reason why guys are not successful when they leave the Patriots is because Bill Belichick is a defensive head coach. Besides Rack, who has had any real success now that you have Mike Vrabel as a player who is a coach? See, he's a player. Now he has his own philosophy. Correct. He didn't need Bill Belichick. He didn't come with Bill Belichick and being coached under Bill Belichick as a assistant. That's totally different than you playing from him, becoming a coach, having your own style on top of what you already learned from him while you were a player. Correct. And then you can bring something of your own to the table. Bill O'Brien went to college, came to the NFL as a head coach, and never had his own. True enough, we know he wanted to emulate what he had in New England because that's what was working with the traditional quarterback at the time. But how quickly has that page turned from 2014 to now 2020? That's a thing of the past. The traditional quarterback is done. Yeah. It's done. It's over with.
And that's the thing, too, because you got to understand that it's everywhere that Bill has gone about how powerful those cultures were. Like, you look at the Patriots, and we know what Bill Belichick is. We know what that is. We know how that goes. But then you go to Penn State right after Joe Pa and that whole situation, and we know how that culture there was. We know how much they loved Joe Pa. We know all the fucking shit that got revealed, and it was motherfuckers who did not give a fuck. They just wanted to keep winning football. Like, they was like, fuck them kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, all they cared about was Joe Pa legacy. Like, so I can understand it. We saw interviews and videos of him spazzing out on Penn State fans. You know what I mean? So it's like you could tell like he has this. I think there's an issue with establishing that culture, or maybe coming from places where that culture's been established, permeates not only the team but damn near the city. And Patriots culture permeates the whole city of Boston. Like it ain't just a team thing. Like I say, Penn State, same shit.
Culture that he learned from New England, what he has learned from New England, does not work in Texas.
Correct.
If he was to take over, if Massachusetts had another team in Massachusetts and he could have been the coach, he would fit well within that scheme because he's cut from that cloth. Yeah. You can't bring that down here with the players you have. They got a young squad. They got a young mentality. They got this. They got that. They got Landon, go on somewhere. They're doing so many different things. The parts are steadily moving. You haven't had your O-line probably was good, from 14, 15. And it kind of carried over into 16. But then you start losing parts from that point on. Ever since Deshaun's been your quarterback, now we have a situation where now we now have a starting five that should be solidified, and we should have plenty of role players behind them that should be able to elevate themselves. So in need, if somebody goes down, they should be able to take care of their business. But it's one of those preparation things that he always seems to find himself in the same predicaments year in, year out. And will that be the case this year? I don't want to see it. more than likely we will.
Okay. Well, here's the deal, y'all. Like I say, we about to get ready to wrap it up and all that good stuff. But like I said, just wanted to let y'all know, really reach out to y'all, just give y'all an update on what's going on, how things are shifting a little bit in the sauce. Like I say, for those who may not have caught it, came in late, bringing everything back to the Sauce channel. Sauce Sports TV will be primarily like esports gaming, things like that, and the connected Twitch channels to Sauce Sports TV. So, like I say, we're gonna have a couple of video series, I guess you could call them, coming up. So, man, stay tuned for that. We don't necessarily get into them. We'll just drop them, and then, like I say, I know we may bring back the Know Your Texans as one of them, but some new stuff that I ain't gonna mention just yet. So I know people, every year ask about the Know Your Texans. Ain't done that in quite some time. But like I say, there's been so much turnover on the roster since the last one. I say, fuck it, why not? It wouldn't hurt to knock some of those out. But aside from that, man, anything you want to say before we slide up out of here, man? I'm sorry, he slid off the screen. I'm looking at him thinking about the thing. But so, what we gonna do? Like I say, we gonna get up out of here. We're gonna get ready to cha-cha to Chunga Deuce. But I appreciate each and every one of y'all, man. All of y'all been fucking with the sauce. Been rocking with it. Like I said, I know last couple of weeks or so it's been kind of sketchy here and there as far as stream. But like I said, we're gonna get back to it 6 p.m. This channel right here. No more Sauce Sports TV channel. No more worrying about what channel is the stream gonna be on. Everything in one spot right here. So make sure you fucking with it. Wink, anything you want to say before we slide up out here, man?
Man, season get ready to kick off. As the man said, man, we got a lot of things. It's gonna have to be a lot of content. It's gonna be a lot of things running rampant on this channel. Expect some appearances during the season. Some guys that you may have seen from other teams. We're not gonna give too much away. That's gonna end up happening, man, throughout the season. I'm ready for it to kick off because it's been a long time coming, man.
Yeah.
Football always takes so long. The season always takes so long to roll around when we lose the way that we do. You just want to see them right the ship. And, hopefully the negative Nancy's that they claim we are, hopefully, we can be proven wrong on so many things. But, the Houston Texans and these players and these coaches seem to make us look right at every turn. So I'm tired of that shit. Yeah. I want to be wrong. I want all of that shit just to go another way, and this team come up with a championship. It's championship or bust. Yeah. If I don't get no championship, it ain't shit. It ain't shit. It don't mean nothing. I don't care about no. Okay, the first step, win your division. We know you don't have to win a division to win a championship.
Yeah.
Giants, several teams, the fucking Tennessee Titans just proved that by going to an AFC championship. So, I don't want to hear nothing about winning no AFC title. I don't want to hear nothing about AFC championship. They better get there and win.
Yeah, the AFC championship was last year. There was your opportunity last year. And the Titans did that. So.
Well, I'm asking that now. Yeah. You got to win the Super Bowl or it's over.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. Like that's that. At this point, like I said, when I mentioned earlier, like each year the expectations grow higher. Like there's no your successor, the guy who came from your team, the guy who got his shot, on your squad, has gone and taken his team further in the playoffs than you ever have in 1/3 of the time. So you gotta that's why I guess to me it's confusing when other fans don't want to say, okay, well, compared to this team, and then you could even look in the division and say it. I know a lot of people, we win a division all the time. Okay, well, with all these divisional wins, not in our history have we ever been to an AFC championship. Fucking Titans went last year but the Jags a couple of years prior to that, the Colts a few years prior to that. Huh?
Oh, as a head coach, blasted you in your own house.
Yeah,
I mean,
so it's like. My thing is at this point, it's like you have to hold, why not us? Why is it cool that the Titans go to the AFC Championship? We clown and we shit on them every year. They can't beat us. They can't do this. We capping and all that. But they have a more successful season. Oh, right. But we won a division. What the fuck does that mean? What is that division? Tell me you're going to hold it. Say things would have went the other way for the Titans. And they went all the way, and they win the Super Bowl, right? Because they're a game out of it. They weren't that far from it. But Kansas City is just it is what it is. But what are you gonna do? You're gonna hold that? Well, we won a division. You gonna hold that up on somebody? They won a fucking Super Bowl on your like. Then that like all like I don't want it to happen like, but I do kind of almost want it to happen. Like if the Texans aren't gonna win it, like I want somebody from our division to fucking win it, so we can shut up about this division title shit. Like if we win a division title and don't win the Super Bowl, like I would hope somebody else from our division would win it. So that way fans will stop talking about, well, we got all these, like that shit don't mean shit. It's like here's your golden ticket to the fucking Willy Wonka chocolate factory. That's the playoffs.
It didn't get to the Titans fans last year. And let's just think about it. The Titans beat the Ravens, who were the best team in the AFC last year.
Yeah.
And beat the shit out of Tom Brady in his last year as a Patriot in the playoffs in New England. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. Ryan Tannehill did that. He may not have threw the game-winning touchdown, but he gets credit. Ryan Tannehill is the reason that motherfucking Tom Brady will no longer play in a Patriots.
Yeah. Like that's what y'all got. That's what y'all should be looking at.
Ugh.
Your coach is allowing people in the media and of course, Twitter trolls and stuff like that to genuinely be able to say things like, well, Ryan Tannehill has taken his team further in the playoffs than Deshaun Watson.
He has more playoff wins than Deshaun Watson.
They're allowed to say these things because this is the position that your coaching staff has put the team in. This is where we get frustrated. This is where we like, it's okay to look at what other teams are doing and compare the progress and the amount of time it's taking your team to get that kind of progress to what other teams are doing. And some teams are doing turnarounds in a year. Like you said, go from worst to first. The Jags did it. Now they fell right back off, but they made a name for themselves. People still talking about that damn team.
It's so sad when you know that Blake Bortles has more playoff wins than fucking Deshaun Watson.
Your coaching staff has allowed this to happen. They're allowing people to be able to say this. You can say that Blake Bortles. You can say that Ryan Tannehill. Are they better quarterbacks than Deshaun Watson? Fuck no. You know what I'm saying? Not even close. But what put them in a better position?
Well, Honcho, it ain't just us who's saying that now the national media, now all of a sudden, now they're on to Bill O'Brien and his bullshit and the way that he's let teams down and the way he's single-handedly letting down Deshaun Watson. People are saying, bro, he ain't finna win no championship with no fucking Bill O'Brien. They need to get him the fuck out of here because if he don't, Deshaun Watson will never reach his peak.
Correct. And you would hate to see
there's only so many things you can do as a player on a football team who's not going to allow you to be yourself, and he doesn't cater a system that you can excel in the same way that these other quarterbacks are. There's no reason that a guy like Lamar Jackson should be able to come from the situation he just came from, taking over for Joe Flacco, who's their best QB of all time for the Ravens, and then you take over, take his job. You completely blow everybody out of the water who has something bad to say about you, and you prove all that shit wrong. Yeah. You beat every good team the following season. You shit the bed in the playoffs. Yeah. Okay, I get it. Yeah. That's on the matter of him not taking shit seriously. Yeah. What happens when he starts taking shit seriously? Do you really think that Lamar Jackson is going to be in the same situation as Deshaun Watson? Because he doesn't have a coaching problem. We do.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. You've allowed, again, guys who were in the same draft class, guys who were drafted behind you, guys that you were either on par talent-wise or better than, or a combination of both of those skill sets if you want to look at it, the best combination. And these guys have gone on to win, regular season MVPs. One's gone on to win Super Bowl MVP. And Deshaun is sitting there with nothing. I mean, is unawarded, undecorated. Has been one of the most exciting players in the league.
Quick question to you in the chat. Name one quarterback, whether he was drafted in the draft with Deshaun or after. Don't matter. Guys who have been over him in the top 100, don't matter how they look at it. Name you can give your quarterback and I'll give mine. Name one quarterback if he was just to make it to an AFC or NFC championship, and you know he is not on the level of Deshaun Watson, and ends up, say he makes it to an NFC championship, but he wins a wild card, wins the divisional round, he loses by 3, or hell, even 7. It don't even matter. It's a competitive football game, and he loses an NFC championship. What quarterback would you just be totally disgusted? How in the fuck does this guy have more success went further in the playoffs than Deshaun Watson once again? What quarterback would if you just be like, get the fuck out?
Well, exactly like what Riotak just said. If we're going NFC, well, I've got to go Trubisky because it was the same draft. Just because of like, we all know, like, that's been the running joke for the last few years. Like, the Bears drafted Trubisky. Like, you had 2 world-class quarterbacks, and you went with the guy who all the signs basically told you probably not your best option. You know what I'm saying? But but as bad as he's been, and as bad as that's been, if he was to go, like, that's got to tell you something. Like, if the level of talent is recognized, the whole world knows that. That's a running joke. But if Trubisky carries his team further in the playoffs than Deshaun Watson does, eventually people have to start. It has to start clicking somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, like, people dismiss a lot of stuff, you know, that I find relevant, but it is kind of what it is, though. You know.
And for the AFC, because he was just gonna be my quarterback, but I think 2 quarterbacks you could put in that equation, and if him or Baker. Matter of fact, both of them, because both of them could very well be like, he could represent the NFC, and Baker could represent the fucking AFC. Baker has a legitimate football team on paper. The Browns have the best team on paper.
Yeah.
One of the top 3 teams on paper. You could say top 1, top 2. You can order it however you want. On paper, they're a top 3 team in the league. When you talk about names, who they got across the board, but it's gonna take more than names. It's gonna take gameplay. It's gonna take dudes being disciplined and winning football games. If Baker Mayfield and if Mitchell fucking Trubisky somehow, some way, are in a situation where they are in a championship game, let alone a Super Bowl, before Deshaun Watson, I don't know. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna want to do videos when right there. Regardless, we should not have lost that game.
Correct.
It's like Blaine Gabbert, bro.
Correct. And what sucks the most is when the motherfucker just can hit you with them facts. You got nothing that you can say. I mean, there's what can you say about it?
Nothing to say.
Can't say shit about it. Gotta deal with that shit. That shit it's awful, I'm telling y'all. But like I say, it is what it is. But we finna try, man. I gotta get up out of here. But like I say, shout out to Mr. Wingman, shout out to Sauce Nation, man. Appreciate y'all all coming through. We'll be in the den at 9. If y'all fuck with that, we'll be here tomorrow at 6. But look out for some recorded content gonna be dropping real soon. Like I say, and we got a couple of series that's gonna be starting, especially throughout the month and things like that. So tune in for that. Consider if you're not a part of the Discord, consider going to patreon.com/SauceSports, becoming a member of the Sauce Sports Discord. Going to get that back jumped off. And again, like I said, once games get back going, especially in the football aspect, we'll definitely have some interesting stuff going with that. Going to start trying to catch some watch parties maybe for some of these other games, some of the Rockets games, things like that when available. But again, if you want to be a part of that, join that conversation. Always a good conversation. Gets a little heated on occasion, but again, it's all love, man. Everybody's a different ingredient, so we all fuck with it. Make sure you follow all the proper social medias. All that shit up at the top of the screen. But chuck it up a deuce. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. Most of all, y'all the freshest motherfucking ingredients in the world. Y'all stay saucy. Sauce Nation. Sauce season 2020, man. Hey, let's get it. We out.
Perfect.